like to set goals? When we're moving from one year into a new year, do you think about setting resolutions? Does the thought of that make you shudder? Why is that? Let's talk about it. I'm Cindy Caldwell, the Happiness Queen, and you can find me at elegantinnerguidance.com. You know, there was a moment in my life, actually a period of my life, where I loved setting goals. I would look forward to a new year with great anticipation, and I'd think of all the great and fun things I wanted to achieve in the new year, and I'd get excited, and I'd really be motivated when we're moving into a new year of the thought of those things and of creating those things for myself and making those things happen. So along the way, every year I would set goals, and I'd think about that. But then I came to a period in my life where I wasn't achieving those goals. And I realized, actually a number of years later, and having looked back, hindsight's always 20/20, that the goals I was setting for myself really weren't my goals. They were goals for my employer, goals that I thought maybe other people wanted me to set. Maybe I was setting those things also to get the approval of other people. But they really weren't things I wanted to achieve. And once I realized that, I really said to myself, well, no wonder I couldn't achieve those, or I didn't achieve those, or I didn't do to the level that I'd hoped for, because they weren't my goals to set anyway. And I can think back to a time when I was employed and I had stepped into a new position, and it was a position requiring selling. I had never done that before, but I thought I was prepared for it. I had a little bit of prior experience shortly before stepping into that new position, so I thought, let's go for it, let's try something new. The company hired me, so they must have thought I had something to contribute. And not only did I have the minimum goals that the company wanted me to meet, but I decided, let's set this big goal. Gosh, if I could do this, what if I could do that bigger goal? And although that was my own private goal, it was kind of that little carrot to set out there, to hang out there, to reach for, and kind of help me to go for the gusto. The fact was, I never reached that goal. And I'd end up feeling disappointed and frustrated that I couldn't and didn't make that happen. And I used to think at that time, well, maybe I'm just not good at this, or maybe I just don't have the ability to do that, or whatever the reason was and the excuse. But I was disappointed, I was kind of bummed out. And then I realized a number of years later, reflecting back and looking back, those weren't my goals to set anyways. They were my employer's goals, and I did achieve those, the standards that I was hired to do. But that big carrot, it wasn't my goal to set. It was really maybe my employer's dream, and it was my employer that I was trying to impress if I could make that goal, but I didn't. And it wasn't my goal to set. So then I realized, looking back again, hindsight's 20/20, that what was really happening at that time and what I'm now tuned into and what's now happening, and it's happening for all of us actually all along the way, is I wasn't listening to that inner voice. I really didn't know that there was an inner voice to listen to. I knew that there were these little promptings over the years that would kind of come back to me consistently, the same things, but I couldn't make sense out of them. And then once I realized that those are the things I need to tune into, those are the things that are telling me the purpose I'm on this earth to fulfill. What's my destiny? What am I here to be and to offer to the world and to achieve? And it's surrounding those things. Those are my goals to set. But that is my destiny to fulfill. That is my life to create. And when I was thinking about this video and a blog post that I recently did, I happened to come across, it's not technically, I suppose, a quote, but it's an excerpt from the book by Neale Donald Walsch, Conversations with God. And what he said in that book is that the deepest secret in life isn't that it's a process of discovery, but it's a process of creation. We're not on this earth to discover ourselves. We're on this earth to create ourselves. And that's when some light bulbs went off for me. And I realized when you're really tuned into that inner voice, those small whispers, those promptings of things that you're supposed to be, that you're supposed to do, directions for you in your life, that's the life, excuse me, that we're on this earth to create. So don't do like I did and just set goals that you're not meant to set. Tune into that inner voice and follow it. And if you're following that voice, every step of the way will unveil itself. And you will be in the process of creating your life. Not just setting goals, but watching your life unfold and creating the destiny for your life. I'm Cindy Caldwell, the Happiness Queen, and you can find me at elegantinnerguidance.com. Thanks so much for stopping by.